Michael Harrison had built his empire one careful decision at a time. At 58, his silver-streaked dark hair and tailored navy suit spoke of success earned through decades of hard work. Today, he sat in Henderson's cafe, waiting to sign the biggest deal of his career, a $200 million acquisition that would secure his company's future. The cafe had been his favorite spot for years. He loved the warm golden light streaming through the tall arched windows, the gentle hum of conversation, and the familiar aroma of freshly ground coffee beans. It reminded him of simpler times before board meetings and quarterly reports filled his days. Across from him sat Patricia Chen, the young woman who'd be finalizing the paperwork. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a neat ponytail, and her crisp white blouse showed the kind of attention to detail he appreciated in business. She'd worked for his company for 3 years now, always thorough, always professional. "Everything looks perfect," Michael said, scanning the contract one more time. He reached for his wallet. "Let me get us both another coffee before we sign. We should celebrate properly." He walked to the counter with a spring in his step. The regular barista, old Tom, wasn't there today. Instead, a new face greeted him. A young woman, perhaps 23 or 24, with kind eyes but nervous hands. "2 espressos, please," Michael said, pulling out a $100 bill. It was the smallest he had, and he thought nothing of it. The new cashier, whose name tag read Emma, looked at the bill, then back at him. She took a breath, and Michael noticed her hands trembling slightly. "Sir?" she said softly, meeting his eyes with unexpected gentleness. "That's the wrong trick." Michael blinked. "Excuse me?" Emma's voice was kind but firm. "I've seen this before. People use big bills hoping we'll make a mistake with the change. I'm new here, but I'm not that new. I'm going to have to ask you to use a smaller bill, or I'll need to call my manager." For a moment, the cafe seemed to go quiet. Michael felt the eyes of other customers turning toward them. His face flushed, not with anger, but with something deeper: embarrassment, sadness. He looked down at his expensive suit, his polished shoes, the contract still visible at his table. Here he was, about to sign a deal worth hundreds of millions, and a young barista thought he was trying to cheat her out of a few dollars in change. But as he looked at Emma's face, he saw no meanness there. Only caution. Only someone trying to protect herself in a world that hadn't always been kind to her. "Emma," he said gently, "I understand why you'd think that, and you're right to be careful. But I promise you, this is honestly the smallest bill I have in my wallet right now. I wasn't trying to trick you." He opened his wallet fully, showing her. Inside were only larger bills and credit cards. Emma's expression shifted, uncertainty creeping in. I'm so sorry, sir. No," Michael interrupted, his voice warm. "Don't apologize. You were doing exactly what you should do. Protecting yourself, being careful. That takes courage." He paused, feeling something shift inside him. When had he last really looked at the people serving him coffee? When had he last thought about what their days were like? "Tell you what," he continued. "Keep the change, all of it. Not as a bribe, but because I respect someone who stands up for themselves. And because—" he hesitated. "Because you reminded me of something important today." Emma's eyes widened. "Sir, I can't accept—" "Please," Michael said. "I insist. And Emma, don't ever apologize for being careful. The world needs more people who pay attention." He took the 2 espressos back to his table. Patricia looked up, curious about the delay. "Everything all right?" she asked. Michael set down the cups slowly. He looked at the contract, at all those numbers and clauses, and then back at the counter where Emma was helping the next customer. "Still looking shaken, Patricia," he said thoughtfully. "How much are we paying our entry-level employees?" She blinked at the unexpected question. Starting around 15 an hour, I think. Why? And how often do I visit our warehouses? Our customer service floors? Our retail locations?" Patricia shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Harrison, what's this about?" Michael was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, a real smile, sad and genuine. "I just realized something. I've been so focused on building an empire that I forgot what it's built on. People, real people, working hard every day just trying to get by. People who have to be on guard because life has taught them to be careful. He picked up his pen, then set it down again. That young woman at the counter thought I was trying to cheat her. And you know what? She's probably had customers who have. She's probably learned the hard way to trust carefully. And here I am, about to add another $200 million to our company's value, and I couldn't even be bothered to carry smaller bills. It was an honest mistake, Patricia offered. Was it? Michael asked. Or have I just gotten so removed from everyday life that I don't think about these things anymore? He looked down at the contract, really looked at it. All those numbers, all that power, and at what cost? Patricia, I want you to do something for me. Before we sign this, I want a full review of our employee compensation packages, entry-level positions especially, and I want to start doing quarterly walkthroughs of all our locations. Not inspections, conversations. I want to know the people who make our company work. Patricia's expression softened. That's a wonderful idea, Mr. Harrison. Michael finally picked up his pen. But before signing, he glanced back at Emma. She caught his eye and gave him a small, uncertain smile. He smiled back. A real connection between two human beings who'd learned something from each other. As he signed his name, he thought about his own journey. He'd started with nothing, worked his way up, built something meaningful. But somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten what it felt like to be the young person behind the counter, nervous and vulnerable, just trying to do the right thing. After the contract was signed and Patricia had left, Michael walked back to the counter. Emma looked up, worried again. I hope I didn't cause you any trouble, sir. I really am sorry. Emma, he said gently, you didn't cause trouble. You gave me a gift today. You reminded me to stay human. He handed her his business card. If you're ever looking for a different kind of work, give us a call. We need people with integrity, people who aren't afraid to speak up when something doesn't seem right. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, sir. Really, thank you. As Michael walked out into the afternoon sunshine, he felt lighter somehow. Younger, more alive than he'd felt in years. Sometimes the biggest deals aren't measured in dollars. Sometimes they're measured in moments. Small exchanges of kindness that remind us who we really are and who we want to be. The $200 million acquisition would go through just fine. But the real value of that day, that was priceless. And it all started with a young woman brave enough to say, that's the wrong trick. Even when she was wrong about the trick, she was right about something more important. The courage to speak up, the strength to protect yourself, and the dignity that every human being deserves, whether they're signing a multi-million-dollar deal or making minimum wage behind a coffee counter. Michael Harrison drove home that evening a richer man. Not because of the deal he'd signed, but because of the lesson he'd learned, and he never forgot it.